Hello everyone, TJV here, and today I'm going to be talking about the H2O Delirious and Ohmwrecker court case, where once H2O Delirious and Ohmwrecker were suing each other, but for a while now H2O Delirious has dropped his counterclaim, so now it's just Ohmwrecker suing Delirious. And with this, they question each side, and Delirious has refused to answer some questions, and therefore Ohmwrecker and his attorneys released some very interesting documents that show a little bit more on what they were finding in terms of evidence in discovery. One of them is they questioned one of the alleged victims of H2O Delirious, where we have a document of her declarations, her affidavit, pretty much her swearing under oath that she's telling the truth and her side of the story. I'm going to go over this particular document as well as looking at H2O Delirious and the attorney's response to this, and I may go over more documents because there was a ton of documents dropped, but this was one of the big ones that dropped, as well as H2O Delirious and his attorney's response. But I may go over the other documents as well in its own separate video. I did just do this in a live stream, so if you want to see me talk more in depth about all this in the live stream, you can go check that out. But if not, here's the video for you, and there's some crazy stuff in here. Now, a lot of the stuff in here is not exactly brand new. Like, we saw some of this in Ohmwrecker's interview with Sarah on his Ohmwrecker Vlogs channel. Some of the screenshots are the same, but in this particular incident, we get a one-to-one count on what her recollection is of the entire interaction between them, how it went, etc. Now, before we really get into it, I gotta point out that she is an alleged victim, and yes, people can lie under oath, but this is her, swearing to tell the truth, because perjury is a thing. You don't want to lie under oath and then get caught lying under oath, but there is a chance that these could be lies, and she could be an alleged victim. I do want to point that out there. I do want to point out that Delirious could be guilty, and this could actually be a victim of Delirious's, or Delirious is innocent and he's going to have to fight back. In terms of him fighting back so far, he hasn't been doing a good job, and he's been refusing to answer any questions about her, which if he just didn't do anything with her, he could just straight up deny it and move on. But instead, he's coming up with reasons and excuses not to answer questions about her or any interactions with her. Which again, in my opinion, if you did it, just admit it. If you didn't, just deny it. But again, public image is going to be taken into account. How well are they going to try to protect themselves if they did do something wrong, etc., etc. So again, want to point out there's a chance that all of this could be complete BS. But this is official court documents. There is a real chance that Delirious could be guilty of the things that she will bring up in this. Wanted to point that out real quick. When we get into this document, we see some things that are blacked out by Ohmwrecker's attorney to protect the identity, the location, the birth date, etc. We do get to see that she was born in 1998. We also get to see her ID and that she is from Ireland. And this all lines up with the interview Ohmwrecker did of her and everything that she said on the Ohmwrecker Vlogs channel. She said that she's been a fan of Delirious for a long time, and that one time she posted a picture of herself wearing one of Delirious's merch, and this is when Delirious pretty much followed her and tagged her in that tweeted photo. This is the tweet that he ended up saying, "That's right, everyone, I win." Confused on what that means? I am as well. I don't know what that means. It could be trying to brag that he has a female fan tweeting at him, but I don't know if that is the case. Maybe Delirious will give some sort of reason on why he said this. In point number 5, she does go into how they were talking for a while, not only on Twitter direct message, but also Skype Messenger, which is very interesting because Skype's been brought up before. Delirious did make a tweet longer on how he did admit that he did have phone sex with somebody that he did not know was underage on Skype a long time ago, because he claims that 2 of his friends set him up in attempts to try to find a face reveal of him a long time ago, but this has all been admitted in a tweet longer a long time ago when H2O Delirious did have a Twitter. Keep in mind, he no longer has a Twitter anymore because he made alt accounts and did some really bad things on those alt accounts, like harass and dox people. And when I say people, I mean Ohmwrecker in particular. But in point number 5, this alleged victim does point out that she was under the age of 18 years old, and Delirious knew that. She had tweets around that time saying that she was just going around being 16 and referenced her own 17th birthday at one point. In point number 6, this just adds more onto it, that pretty much their conversations about school and friends, an example, and other teenage things just led on more to Delirious knowing that she was a minor. And the next point, she does say that Delirious made her feel special. And listen, but the conversations did turn sexual. sexual. And later, Delirious would ask her to send nude selfies of her in various poses just to prove that the pictures were really her. Again, she claims she sent these photos through Twitter and Skype Messenger. Also in 2015, when she was 17 yet again, Delirious would pressure her into taking over 50 pictures of herself, either fully or partially nude in various poses. And she also claims that she felt like Delirious had power over her for requesting so many photos in various poses. She also believes that Delirious was sharing these images around, and also Delirious would not only ask for photos but also sexual videos of her fully or partially nude, and that sometimes Delirious would reply with short gifs of pornography, usually on Twitter, saying that he would want to do what the gifs are doing to her. Whenever she apparently stopped doing this, Delirious would make her feel guilty. At one point, Delirious kept pushing her to have phone sex over Skype, which again he admitted to doing with a different girl way back when on a TwitLonger. I mean, it's all here if you want to pause it and read it. So from reading this, it seems like she denied the phone sex with Delirious, because she states here that Delirious would become very angry and make her feel like she did something wrong or something to hurt him. She does claim that she was young and she felt like she needed the attention of Delirious and that she wouldn't want him to go find someone else to do this with. I am unaware if she ever did comply with phone sex with him or not. I mean, she doesn't state that it for sure did happen in this part, just that she was pressured into doing it and she felt like she had to. She does loosely say, I complied with Delirious's demands so he wouldn't abandon me, but I don't know how many of those demands were complied with or how many of those demands were kind of pushed off to the side and Delirious might have given up. Again, if this is all true. In late 2015 or early 2016, I realized Delirious was using me and I told him that we wouldn't be speaking any longer. She apparently realized that she was being groomed and exploited and manipulated. And then 3 years later, on June 10th of 2018, Delirious direct messaged me from the H2O Delirious Twitter account to congratulate on me becoming a mother. This is proof of this, and in this particular screenshot, he says been a while, proving that they did talk so many years ago or so long ago. Don't know how long that could have been, but this does prove that they did talk previously at one given point. He does say in the next screenshot, it's been like 3 years since your first tweet to me, proving that he did know of her at least 3 years ago in 2015/2016 when a lot of this would have happened. So her story does kind of line up with these screenshots. In the last few points, she just pretty much points out on how she ended up getting in contact with Ohm. Ohm was already speaking up about other alleged victims against Delirious, so she ended up reaching out to Ohmwrecker. And when she ended up reaching out to Ohmwrecker, this is where the Ray Harpy account comes into play. Ray Harpy account is known for threatening her baby. Delirious very well knew that she became a mother because of the tweets of Delirious direct messaging her, congratulating on her becoming a mother. Well, it turns out if you ever did see this Ray Harpy account in these screenshots, you know the baby's name was said in these messages with a car and a gun emoji. The alleged victim does end up pointing out that she made reports to the American FBI and the Irish Garda unit, which I heard that this is like a similar place to report stuff like this in Ireland, and that she passed forward everything to the authorities, but at the same time she also did pass things forward to Ohmwrecker because Ohmwrecker is suing Delirious for defamation. And one of the many things that Delirious said about Ohmwrecker is Delirious said Ohmwrecker is a liar and that he makes up a lot of stuff like this. So in terms to prove that Delirious is defaming him and calling him a liar amongst many things, he has to prove that the claims he made about Delirious are true. Hence why they're reaching out to this alleged victim, trying to see if this stuff really is real, collecting information and having her have a declaration in this court case where she pretty much swears under oath that everything I just told you guys and went through with you guys here is true to her account. Now, Delirious did make a response to this, saying that it is not relevant at all, saying that he dropped his previous counterclaim of defamation. And if that's the case, if Delirious is suing Ohmwrecker for defamation, that means Ohmwrecker would have to sit here and defend himself and prove that, hey, I am not lying about me calling you a pedo, meaning he has to prove this stuff to be real. Delirious dropping his counterclaim does not stop him from trying to find if these things are real, because again, he has to prove that Delirious was defaming him, because Delirious called Ohmwrecker a liar and that he's making up stuff out of nothing because he is salty about this, and that, whatever Delirious went on a long time ago on public, on the internet, to say about Ohm. I would argue that this alleged victim and her story, finding out if it's real or not is relevant to the case, but Delirious and his attorneys are arguing it's not because they just simply dropped their counterclaim and now it's no longer relevant. Now they don't need to talk about this. And that's kind of the big dilemma. We got to kind of sit here and wait. Is this going to end up being stricken from the record? Are they no longer going to be able to talk about these alleged victims just because Delirious dropped his counterclaim, which, by the way, he argues it's because of financial purposes and the financial toll it's taken on him, which I personally seriously doubt. I do think Delirious has a lot more money than Ohmwrecker, and Ohmwrecker is still pursuing with it. So I doubt Delirious is dropping this simply because of money, but I could be wrong about that. My own personal opinion, I don't know if these things are true or not. I'd like to see Delirious have a response to this and try to argue why this isn't true, but right now he's still playing that same game. Delirious and his attorneys are playing this same game of saying this isn't relevant because of XYZ, when clearly this stuff is relevant. This has been one of the biggest issues between Ohmwrecker and Delirious. Ohmwrecker has pushed so many claims claiming Delirious did this, this, and that, and proving if all of that is true or not will resolve 99% of the issues. Because if Ohmwrecker ended up telling the truth all these many years, everything they said about Delirious, if this is all true, then Ohmwrecker deserves a lot of credit for calling out someone like that and sticking to his guns even when the entire internet was against him. But if Ohmwrecker is lying, at least we know that these things are no longer true. Delirious deserves a huge apology for everything that ended up happening to him, and hopefully a lot of the damage can be reversed. Again, me personally, there's no reason to sit here and try to avoid answering this if Delirious never did this. Delirious should come out flat out and deny that this stuff has happened, but he is not, and I don't know why he does not want to answer these questions. One might say it's because he actually is guilty and he doesn't want to admit or deny it, because if he admits it, it doesn't look good on him. If he denies it, they might already have proof to disprove that and show that he is lying, and that's much worse, that you're lying about it instead of just straight up admitting and taking accountability for what you did. But again, I don't know if this is true or not. We're gonna have to wait for more documents. We are gonna have to wait to see what the judge does about these documents. Will these be stricken from the record or not? Me personally, I don't think they will be stricken from the record. I think a lot of this will stand and we will still be able to see stuff like this from public, but I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see how far this ends up going, and we're gonna have to see how this court case ends up and if we do get more evidence from this. Some people are gonna say, why don't you show the evidence of like her sending photos to him? My guess is that this isn't a place to dump evidence. This is just simply a place to show, hey, this is why we are asking Delirious these questions, and this is why Delirious needs to answer these. So they don't need to show all the evidence to prove Delirious really did these. He just needs to answer these because it is relevant because of these reasons. That's why we don't see all the evidence of it absolutely did happen, because there is a chance that maybe none of this happened and there's no evidence behind it. Me personally, I doubt it. I don't think Ohmwrecker and his attorneys would sit here and present this if they didn't have further evidence behind this to prove that this stuff did happen. They just need Delirious to either admit or deny it, so when they go to argue in court, they can say, hey, this guy denied this stuff, or this guy did admit this stuff. They kind of need that, and they want him to answer that question so they know what are they going to do when they go present this case in front of a jury and the judge. But anyways, guys, that's the video. Let me know down in the comments what you think of all of this. Thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll see you guys all next time.